Whew. Okay. All right, y'all. I am going to wait this time. I've learned my lesson. I am not going to use the streaming platform without checking in to see if my volume and sound sounds good. Testing. Oh, there I go. Okay. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready now for the video. I just checked the sound. I sound good now. And now I need to burn some cedar to calm my nerves. Thank you for telling me, Yummy Bee. Yummy Bee Funny. Let's just cleanse the space. And prepare myself for this live video. Welcome. So I just got finished basically going through 30 minutes of this video, but that's okay. The audio was bad. We're here now. The audio was good. And now I'm going to continue with the subject of this video, which is about primordial beings, celestial beings, and humanoids. Okay. I'm ready. Oh my gosh. All right. Welcome. If you're new here, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. My name is ESAIA Mystic, and this is the channel where you can learn all about decolonizing spirituality and primordial feminine energy. Today, we're going to be talking about primordial beings, celestial beings, and humanoids. And what that means, okay? What it means to understand primordial beings, celestial beings, and humanoids, okay? So overall, what you need to understand is that we're not all human. We're not all human. We're not all human beings. And this message is being propagated and has been propagated to the masses for us to believe and for us to think that we are all human beings and we are all the same. And the only thing that separates us is the color of our skin. And that's not true. The truth is that we're all different. We all have spiritual and genetically different backgrounds, because people like to separate the spiritual and the physical, but you cannot separate them. They are one and the same. Okay? So a lot of people also believe that they didn't choose the type of bodies that they live in. They didn't choose the type of family that they were born into. They didn't have anything to do with that, right? And it was just all kind of something that happened to them when they got here. It was just by circumstance. That's just what happened, right? And that is not the truth at all. There's a reason why the moon is correlated to ancestry and family and giving birth, because the moon also rules the waters of this planet. The moon also rules the blood that runs through our veins. And the moon is what tells us genetically what kind of soul is going to come through this kind of vessel. So that's why people think, bloodlines and things like that don't matter. It does matter. It does matter, because it will also predicate what kind of beings are going to come into this realm and who they're going to be connected to on a ancestral and spiritual level, which are usually one and the same, okay? So it's not all just by chance. It's not all just, oh my gosh, how did this happen? How did we all get here? I guess we're all humans. I guess we're all the same. And so what's also happened in this is that from the activities of what I like to call celestial outcasts, celestial beings who've come into the planet and have done some pretty horrendous things, what we like to make of that and do with that is say that, because of everything that's happened in the past, like racism, classism, and all of these different prejudices, I'm going to just continue to believe that we're all the same, we're all equal. The only thing that's different about us is the sun and how much sun we're getting and the skin color and things like that. And none of that is the truth either. And the reason that a lot of people take on this mindset is because they have a deep-seated insecurity about who they truly are on a spiritual level, and they don't realize it. Because for you to be comfortable, right, you have to think that everyone's equal to you. In order for you to feel comfortable, you have to believe that everybody's the same as you and equal to you. You're insecure. You have a deep-seated insecurity about who you really are. And a lot of people don't realize this about themselves. And so a lot of people who think like this, believe in these ways, are 9 times out of 10, sometimes they are, right, Afro-Indigenous people, but a lot of times they aren't, right? A lot of times they aren't. A lot of times this is a perspective that is relative to beings that don't have a lot of ancestral connection, meaning what's happened to them genetically in the past. And if we could group those people into one big, category, we would say, okay, those are mostly Caucasian people. Those are mostly people who are not of an Afro or melanated background. Because people who have a more Afro-Indigenous background, people who have a more melanated background, understand clearly that there's no way that we're all equal. Like, there's just no way. So you mean to tell me that everything that's happened to me, everything that's gone on, you know, that's been done to my people was just because you didn't like the color of my skin? Don't do that, right? Don't feed me that. Is the mindset that a lot of us carry. So a lot of us are like resistant to that conditioning, because we know clearly, like, we have the blood and the experiences of our soul are so strong that the conditioning kind of just bounces off of us majority of the time. So we know clearly that there's more to this story. There's more to the story. And this is where a lot of Afro-Indigenous people have really decided to discover who they are, where they come from, their background. And this is why so many of us are coming to the realization now that we're actually indigenous to the Americas, right? We're actually indigenous to this area of land. We didn't just come from Africa. We didn't just come from Nubia, Kemet, Kush, right? All of those places that at one point a lot of the Afro-Indigenous community was connecting back to. And yes, we've obviously been there as well, but that's not the point, right? The point is for us to connect back to being primordial, right? Even though we're coming into the realization that we're indigenous to the Americas, that we have so much history here, and that all of that history has been erased and hidden undercover and usurped by other beings, right? Like Native Americans and all these other kinds of beings, right, on the planet have come in and usurped the truth about history and what's happened on this land. That's not by coincidence. And this is the same thing when I'm speaking of you connecting to yourself as a human being only. That's not by coincidence. You are being manipulated into thinking that about yourself. You are being conditioned into having a small, feeble mind and believing that about yourself. And so what's now happening with like the new age spirituality and sorry guys, with the new age spirituality and even in the Afro-Indigenous community, at some point they were like, oh, you know, you must know that we only come to Earth for an experience. Like, we only come here to visit, right? We're just visitors. Have you guys heard that? Like, we're just visitors. We're not really from here. We're just visitors. Some of y'all are. Okay? Some of y'all are. And that's cool. But it's not everybody. And a lot of Afro-Indigenous beings also have been coerced to believe that they are from predominantly other places, right? And they're just visiting. Like Orion and Sirius. I hear those two star systems so much, right? This is where we're really from. And all of that has honestly just been propagated from these past and exposed to be very maliciously silly leaders, right? Afro-Indigenous leaders who have propagated you're not from here, you're from somewhere else. We're from somewhere else, right? We're from somewhere else. Okay? And that's not true. That's not true for everybody. So we're understanding now that there are different kinds of beings in different kinds of galaxies and in different areas and spheres of the universe. There are other realms, right? We're learning that. But in that, we're deciding that, oh yeah, that's where I'm from, and that's it. Oh yeah, that's where I'm really from, and that's it. When the richness and the beauty, like, and all of the pretty much everything, right, is here on earth, is here in this realm. But because at this point in time that we chose to incarnate into this realm, things are not the same. Things are not the same. We want to be from somewhere else. We want to go back to, over there. We want to go back to over there because the life that most people are living here on earth is not heavenly. Okay, it's hellish. And a lot of people want to run away from that. They want to run away from the responsibility and the connection to life that we have here on this planet. But you can't do that. So it's important that as Afro-Indigenous beings, you start to understand your connection to the earth, and that the vast majority of those Afro-Indigenous beings that are also identifying as American Indigenous, right? Let's go beyond that, because even when I get in these groups, even when I get in these spheres, you're still limited. You're still limited in your thinking and in your consciousness, because you still want to be a race. Like, you still want to be put in this box when you're not, right? And what you really want to do is you want to get down to the point, and you want to recognize that you are a part of a bloodline that is primordial, that helped to usher in this realm. You helped to create this realm. You are a replica of the blood and the soil of this realm. That same blood and soil of the earth is the same genetic makeup of you. And that is the gag, right? That's what the gag is. Because we want to keep talking about skin color. It's not about skin color. It's about blood. It's about ancestry. It's about spiritual connection to our spiritual power. Because when you're connected to your ancestors, that means that you're connected to yourself. And you know who you are. You know where you come from. So that's what this is about. It don't have nothing to do with who black, who white, who color this and color that. And that's what these celestial outcasts, or these beings, right? We're going to get into that in a second, is conditioning everybody who is feeble enough and weakened enough from their own ancestry to believe it. That's what this is about. So when you feel like, right, and I'm not going to just say it's only Afro-Indigenous beings that have a connection to being, that are connected to being primordial, because it's not. I've met a lot, all right? I wouldn't say that many, but I met a good bit of people who would call Caucasian, right? Who have primordial blood. Okay? I met them. We're going to get into that deeper, okay? We're going to get into that deeper. Not in this video, but in another video. So it's about understanding your spiritual and physical ancestry as one. And stop trying to separate them like it doesn't matter. Stop trying to separate them like, you're not really who you are in this body. Every single part of your spiritual nature formed your body. Your mom didn't make your body. You made your body. She was just a vessel to channel you through her. She was just the portal and the gate to get you here. You made your face. You made your nose. You made your eyes. You made your hair. You made your toes. You made everything. So stop trying to say, oh, we don't choose who we come from. It doesn't have any. Stop being weak. Stop acting like you don't know who you are. Stop acting like you don't know yourself. Stop being disrespectful to yourself, aka your ancestors and all of the beings that came before you to give you that portal to create a body, to create yourself. So we have, as Afro-Indigenous beings, a very strong primordial influence here on this planet. And that is why we're connecting so deeply to being American Indigenous, and finding out our connection to this ancient land we call America, which is the oldest land on the planet. It is the Mecca. Some of the oldest waters and the oldest trees and the oldest everything can be found right here in America. Canada, US, Central America, South America. We are the Mecca, okay? But that doesn't mean that we don't have relations and we're not also connected to every other aspect of the world. This is just the beginning. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say Mecca, right? In the primordial beings, that means you're the beginning. Not that you're not connected to nothing else. Okay. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Fuda Bra. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donation. Glad you're talking about this. Been curious about this because so many black people claim to be from Superstar. Alien Superstar. I've been wondering if some folks come directly from Earth or the ocean, like the story of Aphrodite. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is going to kick off 4 more videos and probably a few more, but this is going to kick off more videos, okay, where I'm going to dive deeper into this because it's true, right? If you have primordial blood, then you are a part of the beings that rose from the earth and that were created from the earth. And that being water, right? Earth, fire, and air. And then we're going to include ether, right? Because ether is just the energy. We came from all 4 elements. And we also have a connection to all 4 elements. So it was so interesting, Food Abroad, how you're picking up on these frequencies, right? And these messages without me even having to tell you when you started to say, I'm very drawn to the elements and connecting to the elements. That's because this is why. This is why. So we can understand each element, right? And so what I'm going to get into after this video is I'm going to get into the primordial houses, the 4 primordial houses a lot deeper, which is, I talk about a bit in my book, and I relate it more to the elemental feminine energy of each house. So that's true. I always wondered why children with no family were more ambitious than people with parents. Children with no family were more ambitious than people with parents. Because they want to create something here so that they can have a family, right? They want to create something They want to create that family, that bloodline, or be able to open the door to that. Some people have, stuff going on in their bloodline, in their ancestry, and in their family, right? And that's a whole nother subject. But people creating themselves. Yes, creating themselves. So this is the basis of what it means to be primordial. Is to understand that you have created yourself and you are a part of a lineage of people that helped to create this planet. This realm we call Earth. This place that we live in, you are a part of that energy, right? You are a part of that channeling. That's what it means to be primordial. It doesn't mean that this is where you began, because we're eternal. And this earth is a couple billion years old. But we are eternal. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the primordial beings help to usher in the spirit of this land and the energetic frequency of this earth. And that is why, as Afro-Indigenous people and primordial beings, it's like everything about being connected to the truth is being put over a rug, right? Slipped over a rug. And not just when it comes to being Afro-Indigenous and having history here in America, because we all know that has been well hidden. I mean, well hidden. Like, it's just never talked about. Grow up in the education system and you just like, I learned American history and they never said anything about any of this, So it's not just that. It goes down to the food that we eat. It goes down to the rituals and the practices that we have. Our way of life is supposed to connect us back to the truth of the earth. But it doesn't. And it's because of what a lot of these celestial beings, and what I really like to call celestial outcasts, because not all celestials are evil and shit like these people are. But it's because of celestial outcasts. Okay? So mostly when I come across celestials that are in or are Afro-Indigenous, they don't even have to be Afro-Indigenous, but most of the times when I do come across celestials that are in a melanated body, they have 9 times out of 10 they have O negative blood. And so that means that they have really, really strong celestial bloodline. And they also have this frequency that you can just feel that is not like connected here, right? It's not really connected soulfully here. It's just kind of here exploring and coming around and, visiting, and like they literally feel like a visitor. Now they may be a little more mentally able to detach a bit more from things. Like when I meet Afro-Indigenous people and they're just really easily able to detach from like their ancestry or history concerning other Afro-Indigenous people, or just things of the world, like they seem just much more detached, right? So like celestial beings that I come across, they have this detachment where they're just here and they're learning, they're exploring, and this gives them somewhat of an upper hand because they're not so emotionally involved here with the things that go on. They're very detached in that way. And when I say detached, it literally makes me think about the sign of Aquarius, right? and how that sign represents the alien energy, quote unquote alien. But really, Aquarius just represents the celestial frequency, right? Of having a mind of an innovator, a mind that is like ahead, kind of a little bit ahead of other people. So celestials have that frequency. They have this kind of frequency where they're like a little bit ahead in other areas because their natural frequency is resonant to other places in the galaxy. Okay, Food Abroad says, ESAIA, is it true that the Celestials need the energy of the Primordials to survive on Earth? Celestials always seem kind of parasitic to me. So for some of them, not all of them, and this is why I call these specific Celestials celestial outcasts, because there are Celestials here that they are not involved in all of that and they just here. Some of them are even here to be of assistance, right, to Earth and to everyone on Earth and everyone who's occupying this planet. So it's not all Celestials, okay? There are plenty of Celestials that actually come through, right, that we have relationship with. This is why I say, like, 9 times out of 10, we all have somewhere, not all of us, right? But usually there's some relationship to celestial beings, right? And so we call these beings siblings or, you know, family in other universes, because we do have like a relationship with them, but they weren't here in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So they do come through and bring assistance. They do come through and bring us information. You know, when you get that, you know, when what they call channeling, right? And when people say, I'm channeling, I'm receiving, right? When you're receiving, and you can find this out too, go get your aura photos taken. You can go and get pictures done of your aura, because they have that now. I got mine done. I'm an indigo aura. Hey, I'm an indigo child. You can go get your aura photos taken. And if you see in your photo, some people have this, right? I have this like slight light beaming down. It didn't have a color to it. It was just this pure light coming in. When you have that light coming in, that means that you are receiving information from other places in the universe. Like somebody is sending you data to your brain, like to your mind, for you to channel. So when people talk about, oh, I'm channeling, this is what they're talking about, right? And you can either channel from somewhere, you know, way far away, or you can be channeling from things that are nearby, right? Things that are close to you. So they do communicate with us. And this is the real internet, okay? This is the real global network, okay, of information and data. We've been able to mimic these things in technology and in our computers, but this isn't real technology. This is a mimic. This is a replica of real technology, which is the technology of the mind and this energy. And here I am. I'm going back to Aquarius because Aquarius represents technology. A lot of people think about this kind of technology. But this kind of technology is not the original form of technology. This is the original form of technology. These bodies, okay? These bodies that flow and move through the electromagnetic field. And we don't die when we have water poured onto us like these gadgets do. But we live. That means we are real technology, because real technology thrives and lives off of water. So The celestial outcasts are the celestials that we can clearly see that live in, they live in the monarchy, okay? They live in the Queen Elizabeth, okay? She was one of them. They live in the monarchy. They live in the political system. They live in these systems, right? Where they do create these matrices of the mind. They create these matrices, and they require the energy, right, of other beings to pour into for them to live, right? For them to exist. Because it gets to a point where you become so foreign to the earth that the earth don't want you here. It's like when you go to certain islands, right, or certain places, like I know in there's traditionally an understanding in the Hawaiian Islands that if the goddess of this island don't want you here, she's gonna put you out, right? Or if the spirit of the land doesn't want you here, it's gonna put you out, right? That the same thing happened here in America. The same thing happened here in America. And this is relative to the picture that Beyonce took where she's on 4 horses, okay? I'm going to do a video on that one. I'm not getting into that now. But Beyonce was on 4 horses, right? This is so symbolic to the spirit of America, because the horses represent the American spirit. We just going to get that out the way. And at one point, celestials could not come here. If their celestial blood was so in resonance, right, with the earth, when their energy is so out of resonance with the earth, they would come to America and get sick and die. Like they couldn't be here for more than a couple days. So there were certain things that started to shift energetically that happened that allowed that energy to start to live and thrive. So the celestial outcasts make up these beings that we see in the political system, in the monarchy, and pretty much everybody who is responsible for the mass colonialization, genocide, and brainwashing of everybody on the planet. That's who they are, okay? And this is where we can be aware, right, of when I talk about celestial outcasts, because a lot of people talk about it, but don't really talk about it. But it's like, no, this is what this is. Like, they're right there. But in you knowing who they are, right, who are you? Who are you? Is Beyonce a primordial? ? You might not want to believe it, but she absolutely is. She's not an alien. She's not a celestial outcast. She's not in the Illuminati. She's just a successful Afro-Indigenous woman who used her astrological placements, okay, to her advantage. And she became a multi-billionaire. It's just as simple as that. And it's really sad when I see a lot of Afro-Indigenous people and other Black people who just want her to be evil and want her to be malicious and drinking somebody's blood or something to be like as an excuse for her to be so powerful. We're all just as powerful. And Beyonce knows a lot of things, but she just decides to go about her life in her own way with the information that she learns. And she could do whatever she wants, right? Like, I have a lot of respect for Beyonce. Don't know her, but I definitely respect her. So this is who the celestials are, right? So a lot of beings are celestials, right? And that's the honest truth. Like, a lot of people aren't from here, and they're gonna have a hard time connecting to the history and the ancestry and the truth of here because they're not from here. And yes, the celestial beings do need energy to thrive off of, right? And yes, they do use a lot of primordial energy to thrive off of when primordials subscribe to certain systems. Like, when we subscribe to systems that equate, right? Like that cause certain patterns in our DNA, in our genetics to be dormant, then yes, they can feed off of us. Yes, they can take our energy. Yes, they can. But this is why I created the Lilith Code. This is why it's important to become sovereign, right? And intentionally reactivate those genes. Because if you don't, you will unintentionally give your energy away to these beings. So a lot of people just be thinking about, oh, it's about superficial things, these superficial things. No, it's not. Right? Like, you giving your energy away and you don't even know it. You giving your power away and you don't even know it. You don't even know. And it's just because of the disconnection you have to the earth, your ancestry, the moon, right? And everything that is connected to that. So, okay, some of them say that O negative blood is the bloodline of the original women of Earth. I've always been curious about that. O negative are in a sense because the bloodline is the oldest and can be used for various modalities and donations. I am O negative. So O negative and O positive can be used. Anybody can use O negative or O positive blood. Anybody can use O blood. But the thing about O negatives is they can't receive any blood, whereas O positive blood can receive. Right? We can receive blood. O negatives can't receive anybody's blood. O positive can. So that is why people say that O negative is the oldest bloodline, but it's really just O in general is the oldest blood on the planet. And O negative can't receive any blood, right? Because their blood, like, this is the celestial coming in. Because if you can create anything, then that means you are anything. If you can create all kinds of blood, then that means you are also all those bloods. So if you can't receive that blood, then that means that if you can create it but you can't receive it, there's a cutoff there. Thank you, Fly Guy. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out if O negative are primordials or celestials. So I say most people that I have met with O negative blood give me celestial energy. That's what I feel. Like, mostly that they have celestial energy. That's what I feel from them. Does that mean that they have zero primordial blood or primordial relation? No, it just means that I feel mostly celestial energy from them. So I would say that they're mostly celestial. I'm trying to listen, but you're so gorgeous. Oh, thank you. I'm A plus blood. I hope this doesn't mean I'm celestial, foreign to the earth. It Okay, guys. So whatever your blood type, okay? Because my grandmother had AB blood. Okay, my great grandmother had AB blood. And A, B, and AB blood, you can find mostly in like the Asian area, like China, India, like up in that area, like Pacific Islands and all of that. That's where that blood type is found mostly today. You can also find it in America, right? My grandmother and my great grandmother had AB blood, and my grandfather had O blood. Now, my grandmother and my great grandmother, to me, they had Asian features, right? They had not Asian, but they had like, there was this vibration about them that felt Asian. And I tell you, nowadays, like, I attract a lot of Asian people into my life, specifically women. Like, I attract a lot of Asian women. Like, aunties, Asian aunties just be popping up. I had an Asian auntie just pop up just the other day. She was like, connecting to me on a spiritual level. So, it doesn't mean that, because I have AB blood that I'm a human. Okay, we're going to get into that. Because being human has nothing to do with being celestial, and it has nothing to do with being primordial. And honestly, if you have celestial blood and if you have primordial blood, that's good, right? It's normal. But where you want to be aware is like where you may genetically be falling into the humanoid character, like the humanoid, okay? So that's completely different when you are a humanoid. So my grandmother and my great grandmother, they had AB blood, okay? Does that mean that they weren't primordial? I don't believe so, because they definitely probably had a lot of more of the Mongolian, Native American genetics on that side. But I don't believe that they were a part of the humanoid category. So let's get into that, okay? Because I don't want you guys to be like, oh my gosh, I have this blood type. Like, don't do that, okay? This is about connecting the dots to physically, right? And what actually like your blood type is and your genealogy is back to your spiritual connection, right? And your spiritual relationships. So I didn't think, they have Asiatic blood. They have a lot of primordial beings in Asia. They do. So just because that's where that predominant blood type is, that doesn't mean that you don't have that connection. The old blood, and just like how I'm saying now, the old blood is predominant in America because America was the beginning. That's just what America was the beginning. So that doesn't mean that anywhere else on this planet didn't also have primordial resonance. This whole planet did and still does. It's just America is the Mecca. So the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is humanoids, okay? Y'all, please don't mind my cup. I put in the dishwasher and it didn't wash right. Oops. Got this sticky stuff on the bottom. I think that's some of the dishwashing stuff. I don't know. It's clean though. It's just the outside looks weird. All right. So now let's talk about humanoids. Humanoids, humanoids. Oh, my humanoids. Why you gotta be so crazy? So humanoids are the people, okay, that were created by the celestial outcasts, meaning their DNA and their soul frequency, right? Their spiritual frequency wouldn't have been able to come here otherwise. Because the genetics of people on this planet have been messed with, like they did with dogs and animals and all the things. They created people using the genes of the original people, the primordial people of this planet, to create clones. To create people who lacked the mental connection, right? The literal physical, and I'm touching my head right now because it's like their brains don't function the same way someone who has a primordial or celestial lineage would. So humanoids are beings that have been cloned for the purpose of celestial outcasts to be able to enslave, to do of their bidding, basically, and condition easily. So because they lack the mental connection, and it's also something that I've read in a book to be called The Primordial Knot, okay? The Primordial Knot. And you guys, I read a lot, okay? And I've read a lot of books, and a lot of my information I get from various sources, and I just put the dots together and I come on here and I share it. So I've heard it been called the primordial knot. And the primordial knot is the knot. It's the part of the brain where if you go very at the bottom of your head, oh gosh. If you go like really right here and you feel that little knot right there, that's the area of your brain that is responsible for you not complying with bullshit. I repeat, that is the part of your brain responsible for you not complying to bullshit. Okay? That's the part. And what does that part look like, right? That very base of your brain, right? That's where your spine begins. That's where your spine begins. That's the beginning of your Kundalini serpent energy. Receiving the downloads. And humanoids don't have that at all, or they don't have it activated. So they don't have it all. They don't have it at all, or they don't have it activated. I know y'all seen people who have flat heads. I know y'all seen it. Their heads just be flat. You know, ain't got no curve or nothing. It's just flat, right? Or it's just not activated. Because like I said, you can have the part of your brain, but that don't mean you using that part of your brain. That don't mean that it's actually being used, because it could have gone dormant in earlier years of your life, usually in childhood. So it's not at the middle back part, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom. So humanoids don't have this activated, and that is intentional, because the celestial outcasts that created them to be feeble and able to be easily conditioned. But not only that, but because they created them without that primordial knot, they also don't have no sense, right? These are the people, this is the category of people where you got to give them a Bible so they know not to fucking do crazy stuff, right? Excuse my French. This is the people that you have to give rules and restrictions to, because if you didn't, they would be psycho. Like, they would be doing all kinds of stuff. Okay? These are who these people are. And I know in America, it can be kind of hard to really connect to that, because the spirit of America is so strong. Like, y'all don't understand. The spirit of this land is strong. A lot of people in America really don't understand how certain things in other places of the world even happen. Like, we don't even understand it. Okay? So these are those people, right? Like, I think I've told the story before, right? Where this is people where, you know, there's a story of this colony in China, some area of China. Listen, I'm a right brain learner and teacher, so I don't have details. I don't have facts. I don't have specifics to show y'all, unless I, you know, did my due diligence of doing all that. But for the most part, you getting right brain stuff from me, because that's just the way I learn and the way I teach. And so there was a colony in China, okay? The colony in China was under the rulership of some dynasty, right? And they were running out of this crop because there was a specific bird that was eating the crop. And they needed this crop for whatever reason. They wanted more of the crop to grow. So what they decided to do was kill all the birds in that area. Kill them all. I mean, they killed millions, like, I wouldn't say millions, but they killed hundreds and thousands. I mean, they had buckets of dead birds. They was just like boatloads of birds. It was a massacre of birds. And they just killed them because they wanted some food to grow. Like, is you stupid? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is humanoid activity. This is humanoid activity. This is humanoid activity, okay? So, humanoids do stuff like this. They do stuff like this when they don't have their overlords telling them what to do, guiding them, because they don't have that primordial knot showing them the way. They don't have it. Oh, thank you, Food Abroad. Thank you. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Do you believe that some of the gods and goddesses that people revere are actually celestials, like some of the Egyptian gods? The movie Eternals kind of touched on this. I believe that a lot of the Celestials were just regular people, not meaning like regular like nowadays, but I believe that a lot of the gods and goddesses were have so a lot of the beings that come from Kemet, Nubia, Kush, all of that area is a primordial house, right? This is one of the primordial houses. In Kemet, Nubia, Kush, and that whole area is a primordial house. And a lot of that, like I said, like it's almost like I want you to see primordial beings and celestial beings as normal people, okay? Except primordial beings are relative to the earth's creation, and celestial beings are native to other places, right? So it's all a cosmic being. And primordial beings and celestial beings have a relationship. A lot of them have a relationship. A lot of them are connected in a lot of different ways. So a lot of those gods and goddesses were just primordials and celestials that were tapped in, and they understood who they were, right? And how to use their energy. And the reason that they were revered is because that they were like, they had tapped into that power, right? And people appreciated them for it. Like some Egyptian gods. I never saw the movie Eternals. I thought about watching it. I did, just so I could, learn a little bit more, decode some things. But I never watched the movie Eternals. Not yet. I should probably watch it. I could watch it if I wanted to. So that's primordials and celestials. So a lot of, like, in that area, that primordial house was just people who were tapped in, right? People who were tapped in, and they were connected to ancient knowledge. So, and their relationship to the celestial outcasts is the same way that it is now. It's unresonant, right? It doesn't resonate together. It can't. But the celestial outcasts and the humanoids do resonate together intensely. So this is what humanoids is, and I hope you guys got a good like layout and perspective of like, oh, this is what humanoids are, right? So people who are easily compliant to lies, conditioning, like anything, right? This is very humanoid behavior. And I don't care if you a Libra, right? Because sometimes I meet Libras and I'm like, dang, like all they ever do is listen to what other people think. And then I see Libras and I'm like, sometimes Libras be, it's like when you have that knot, it don't matter what your sign is. It don't matter what your background was. It don't matter what your past experience was. It's your brain. It's a part of your brain that is just not receiving it. So humanoids do come in all colors, races, ethnicities, and so on. And the way you can really tell someone with a like humanoid background is, I always like to say humanoids come from people that all like, they all look alike. Like 9 times out of 10, they all look alike. Like y'all all look the same. So honestly, I think the biggest one we can see here is obviously China and Asia, right? And the cloning that was done there. Obviously. Good Lord. Everybody look alike. No. So obviously Asia, right? But Asia's the Asiatic blood, right? It originally didn't look like how it looks now. People look, number one, originally they had dark skin. They were melanated. And a lot of the original Asians, right, also were primordial, right? They was living in the mountains. They had afros. All their features were varied, okay? But now we look at them and everybody look alike. And they got a flat head in the back. So this is where you can see that cloning was taking place. So you can see it in any culture or any place, and including Africa, because people like to leave out Africa. Africa is full of clones. That's why a whole bunch of crazy stuff happens over there. Motherfuckers be chopping off children's arms and stuff because they think that they a witch, and they be doing crazy stuff in Africa. And we try to put that off as Afro-Indigenous people like to put that off. Oh, you just trying to make Africa look bad. No, they are crazy out there. They be tripping. Don't try to run over that. Like they not out there doing that. Okay? They be tripping. Let's not act like that. Hotel Rwanda, I saw it. And I saw another movie too with Idris Elba, and I was just done. I was done with Africa. But mind you, who is at the baseline of 9 times out of 10 all of that crazy stuff that they did? Religion, Christianity, the separation that the colonizers went in there and did and said, "Oh, you're a Hutu, you're a Tutsi, you got to be separated," right? And in all of that conditioning, it's like they absorb that and they are enslaved to it. And they do crazy stuff on behalf of it. That's humanoid behavior. And it's important for us to recognize that. And stop saying, "Oh, humans are crazy. Humans are vile." Yeah, humans are. Let's leave that at that. Humans are. So, I don't identify with being human. I don't identify with being human. That's what they need to be saying, the LGBTQ community. I don't identify with being human. That's what they need to start saying. Instead of, I don't identify with being a woman. You need to say, I don't identify with being human. That's what you need to say. I've also noticed that when some people talk about human nature, they're talking about humanoid nature. They try to confuse us by saying we're all human. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. So this is the truth, you guys. This is the truth. And After this, I'm definitely going to. Oh, and thank you again, Food Abroad. Girl, I'm getting so used to seeing the color. It was the same as the other color. Thank you so much for the donation, Food Abroad. You are so, 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 so wonderful. I appreciate you. Divide and conquer. Please do more videos on this topic. I love your thoughts on this. I'm absolutely going to do more videos on this. I have a lineup of topics that I will do on this subject for sure. I'm going to be talking about the 4 primordial houses after this video. The house of Jean, the house of John, the house of Ra, and the house of Terra. And we are going to dive deep into this. It's going to be very, very fun and enlightening. So maybe I'll do, well, no, I won't do a poll for which one I'll start with. It got to be in the flow, you know. But man, it was a crazy poll. I was like, what topic is going to win? It is all like close, close, close. Such a close poll. So excited. I love your knowledge so much. Thank you. You know, I forget your name because you don't have a name. You have a moon sign and something in another language. Is that Arabic? I'm not sure. So tell me your name, please. Me too, love the insight and thought process. Is the earth returning to the primordials? I feel like we're going back to the primordial rule. I'm sick of these non-primordial folk. The earth is awakening. This is true. The earth is awakening. And if the earth awakens, then the primordial people also has to awaken as well. It's just the way things go. Because there's that connection, right? It can't be one without the other. And, you know, I go into this in depth in another one of my videos where I talk about how the number two kinds of beings on this planet that have been intentionally, systematically oppressed have been Afro-Indigenous people and women. And if you understand what this means, it means that these two frequencies go together. If you see what has happened to Afro-Indigenous people, you also see the same things have happened to the earth. If you see what has happened to women on the planet, you will see the same things have happened to the earth. So it is in both of that realization, right? It is in that realization that you can't change anything on the planet until you recognize, number one, yourself as a primordial woman or a primordial being. And you also recognize that in and of itself, that you want to clean the oceans, clear out your emotions. You want to clean and revive the earth, clean and revive your own body, your own earth, right? You want to clear the air then. Have new thoughts, have new ideas, and people are getting to that now, right? The air revival is really coming into a being, and fire as well, right? Where people are understanding how to have better thoughts, how to have a freer mind. People are understanding, how to clear away all the gunk from the past and move forward, act on their passions, do what they love. But the earth and water is still like, obviously, like, okay, you forgot about the feminine elements. You forgot about the feminine elements. And that's what we are moving into, I think. I think that we are moving into. You have fire and air in your zodiac. Oh, dominant in fire and air. I am dominant in earth and fire. So that's what I'm dominant in. And in Vedic, I'm just dominant in fire. And that's about it. I have 0 to no air and a little bit of water. 0 to no water in Vedic. I always say if you want to look up your dominant element, then go to astroseek.com and look up your dominant element in your chart, because you would think because I'm a Scorpio with a Taurus rising and a Virgo moon, that I would be mostly earth and water, but I'm earth and fire. Funny, in Vedic, I'm all water. Yeah, it shifts a bit. And you're Scorpio Mars, rising Taurus. Hello, my fellow Taurus rising. I have an Aries rising in Vedic and a Leo moon in Vedic. So that's why it kind of shifts over to fire in Vedic. So yeah, you guys. So if you guys have any more questions, ask them now, because I'm getting ready to hop off of here. My dominant sign is Leo. I have 9 placements. Oh, wow. That's a lot of Leo. So that means you have a lot of Leo to connect to in this life. ESAIA, I'm just curious, but do you agree with the theory that the first primordials were all female and then men came later? I think that the soul of this planet is feminine. So I do think that there is a dominant presence of feminine energy. I don't 100% believe that it was only women since the beginning of time. I do think, since the beginning of the earth. Now, since the beginning of everything, yes, I do believe that it began with the universal cosmic mother. But I don't think that we came here without our men. I think that we had our twin flames when we came here. I think that when we came here, we had the twin flame connection, or what people call as the twin flame connection, but that other half of our soul was one with us when we came here. And I think it's possible that obviously in parts of the Americas where there were parts of the planet where there were only women, right? I'm sweating, y'all. There were parts of the planet that were only women. I need to turn on my fan. And that's how they lived. They just lived predominantly where it was just only women, right? and that they were able to impregnate themselves and all the things. Would you consider source primordial? In a sense, I use the term primordial to relate back to the creation of this realm. So source can be primordial or celestial. Source is just source. Source is like when I look at the sun and I just see like the source of creation, right? And experiencing creation. I definitely feel more aligned with matriarchal societies and female power. Yes, I think that the societies were naturally matriarchal and feminine dominant, because this planet that's the frequency of this planet, right? Is to be femininely dominant. But when I think about it, when I'm really like, was it really just a bunch of women by themselves together, you know, like impregnating themselves, like everybody? I feel like that there could be more to that. And that's where I say, because I do understand like the twin flame union. I do understand the story, right, of this realm coming into creation. And I've connected some dots on my end that this planet is definitely dominant, and the spirit and soul of this planet is similar to the Awa in Avatar. And sometimes I think to myself, when I think about the name Yahweh and how that's like the name of the Hebrew, right, the ancient Hebrew God, I start to make some connections, right? Because that is depicted as a very masculine energy. And Awa is very feminine. So you know what? I'm going to do a recap. Like, I'm going to do a follow-up on the video that I did before on Awa and everything. Because you guys, it's time to log off. It's been an hour and 22 minutes, okay? So thank you guys so much for joining me. Me too. I feel feminine energy all around us. Yes. Gotta go. Okay. I will see you later. I am going to talk to you guys again. I will do my next video again next Friday at the same time. And I will see you guys next time. Peace, and thank you again, Food Abroad, for your donations, girl. All right, I will see you guys later.